היה לו לב טוב, עין טובה, מחשבה טובה והרבה הרבה שמחה. הרבה 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 שמחה. התבוננת על מקומו ועוד מעט ואין רשע.
Shalom and welcome to the Yishai Fleischer Show, broadcasting live from Judea to the world. You're a part of it wherever you are. Shalom and welcome to our mini studio here overlooking the Judean mountains over there. It is a beautiful and sunny day. We're going to get to that topic in a second. And I'm joined by my beloved Malka Fleischer. Shalom and welcome,
Shalom.
Malka.
Thank you so much. Yet again, here we are.
That's right.
In beautiful, sunny Judea.
That's right.
Yesterday was not so sunny. January is usually the month when we have our wintry precipitation, and the kids make sure that I have a big stash of milk chocolate in the house because I make homemade shoko, hot chocolate for everybody.
Sure.
Yesterday was a little bit different though. First, we didn't get snow. Last year we didn't get any snow at all, but yesterday we didn't get any snow. We got hail, but our kids were so excited by anything winter precipitationally that they ran outside. They got each of them got 4 pairs of socks wet. They 3 pairs of shoes at least wet. They all just they ran out there and they took the not that much hail. Let's just be honest.
There was a good amount of hail.
No. In Israel terms, it was a good amount of hail, but in New York, New Jersey, tri-state area world, that was you don't even put on a raincoat for that, I feel like.
Well, our friend Erica's from Sweden, and I think that she's with us today. She says, great background, very nice people in the front. God bless you, Erica. And I'm sure that she, along with Eric in Switzerland and many of our other snowbound friends, experience a different kind of hail, but it was a great hail yesterday.
Right, it was a nice little hail.
And we hail the hail, and we got 3 hails going on. We got the hail of the plagues in Egypt, which we're really learning about right now in the Torah portion. We got hail to the chief, the new inauguration of a president yesterday, and we had hail here yesterday. Now, hail also has another meaningful thing here in the land of Israel, which is that the manna is compared to frost. It's compared to frost in the Psalms and in the Torah itself as well. It's like a thin layer of frost. And manna is the same gematria as maim. Man is the same gematria as maim. It's actually a very easy gematria if you want to get into a Jewish numerology. If you want to get into that, then manna in Hebrew is man, which is mem nun. Mem is 40, nun is 50. Maim is just take that last nun, which is 50, split it up into 110, which is a yud, and 1 mem, which is 40, and so you get maim. So everybody says manna is the same gematria as maim, and why is that important? Because what happens is that when the manna would be kind of done with its thing, when it would do its thing, it would melt and become water. And then there's other midrashim that the animals of the Gentiles the water would trickle into streams. The animals of the Gentiles would drink it, and then the Gentiles would eat the meat, and it would be that's the taste of the manna. Anyway, long story short, the reason I say this is because when the minute that it started hailing, I put out a big pot to catch the hail, and then the kids ate we
put some apple juice concentrate up in there,
and it was delicious.
It was really good.
Right.
We were drinking it all day.
Right, and but the thing is that that's really when you get that feeling that Hashem is sending you down this manna, this blessing every single day, and it's coming down from the sky, and you could feel that He's giving you a goodness. There's a gift in snow and hail, in that it reminds you of that white frosty manna feeling.
Right, and as John says, on Facebook,
he says
it's in this week's Parsha.
That's right. It's in the Parsha. I think it's actually in last week's Parsha. But anyway, point is that hail is what we're talking about. That's part of the thing. So we hail the hail, and we really we feel the manna feeling, and it's not a mana chama though. Okay, a mana chama.
Well, here we go. This is your Israeli cultural lesson of the show. You know, we like to try to teach you words and other kinds of stuff that's going on so that when you show up here finally, when everybody either has their vaccine or figures out that they don't need a vaccine, or corona mysteriously goes away, or we all get it and get the antibodies or some other end to coronavirus, when you finally end up here, you'll be like, oh yeah, I know this word, I know that word, I can totally interact with Israelis now. So your cultural lesson of the day is mana chama.
Right.
Mana is a serving, like, yes, one mana of chicken, right? Please, can I have my mana? Can I have my serving of chicken? Chama means hot. Your hot serving. And in Israel, mana chama is ramen noodles in a cup. And it is a popular children's and other people, young at heart people's
That's right.
snack.
That's right.
/ meal substitute. I do not recommend you eat it overly. But, you know,
our kids
once in a while.
I think two of our kids love manachama.
Our kids love it, so I try not to buy it too much.
It's pronounced manachama.
Manachama.
But as a kind of joke, and I like to play with words, as my family will attest to, we change words around. So in the house, we call it manachama. Okay, that's, by the way, an interesting Hebrew thing, which is you could put the accent in the beginning, that's called mil el, or you put the accent on the end, which is mil ra. So manachama is mil ra. It's like you put the accent at the end, but mana chama.
That's
is
how you're
accent
really supposed to say it.
Right. In Hebrew, in Israeli Hebrew, a lot of times the accent is on the beginning of the word as opposed to
Is that the end of the word? The accent's on the end of the word. Lashon. Kri'ah.
It's supposed to
Yamim.
kriya. I think it's
So the accent's on the end of the word.
This is a mystery. I think it's the opposite. I think it's the beginning of the word. Like they say in American they say yishai,
right?
But in Israeli they'll say yishai. I see.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank
the
you.
wife was right. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the wife was right. We got a lot of folks, including our good friend Lou. Lou, how's everything sounding? He says, Shalom Malka and Yishai. Hail makes a great drink.
It sure does.
The hail does. And
the hail.
What the hell? Okay.
That was funny.
And Mustafa.
Haki.
Bildik. Bildik says, Shalom. Ahalan usahalan, my brother. Where are you from? Would love to hear from you as well. And it's so fun to have people from all over the world. And here's a so we had the hail. The hail's on the Torah portion.
That was nice.
By the way,
wait, I have to finish my winter story.
Oh.
Wait, do you have something you got to say?
We were saying about manachama or manachama.
Yeah.
The truth is that the hail in the Bible was a manachama because it was ice that encapsulated fireballs.
Yeah, fireballs.
Now
but the man, as opposed to the mana, the man was not fireballs.
No, the man was delicious, perfectly temperatured.
Yeah, but maybe you could request
frost.
it warm.
I think the kids like
cold.
it cold. I think the kids like it cold.
It really depends if it's winter.
But I'll tell you what, though. Those fireballs, icy fireballs, that will do a number on your Egyptian...
On your system.
On your Egyptian car paint, okay? Your car will really... that's what happened. That's actually what broke Pharaoh.
His
and
Mercedes.
Like, my Rolls Royce. What have you done to me?
Forget it. Get out of here.
Okay, go. Imshi. Okay, get out of here. Okay. So that's the three hails, and we didn't talk about them. Maybe we'll get to that, to the hail to the chief.
Yeah, of course we're going to get to that. I just want to finish my winter story and say that last night, so we had the hail, and then I was supposed to make my famous hot chocolate. But I got caught up watching the inauguration of President Joe Biden. It's hard to even say.
By the way, I'm not going to call him Joe.
What do you call him? Joseph?
I'm calling him Joseph.
Oh.
I'm going to keep on calling him Joseph. That's what I'm going to keep saying.
President Joseph
President
Biden.
Joseph.
We're not friends.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, what are you saying?
I'm saying I'm going to keep your name Joseph to remind you that there's a Bible and there's a God.
Interesting.
Okay, I'm going to keep you on that.
Well, that's a real honorary though, Yishai. I don't know. We'll see if
you know
he's
what?
gonna live up to that.
Sometimes somebody puts it's like a yoke. You know, it's like you
Call
just
him by name.
That's right. No, God gave you the name Joseph, and you should live up to that. Joseph, the minute he went down to Egypt, he kept saying, God is the one who translates dreams, and God will answer you. And he brought. And some people say that he and the Jewish people brought monotheism to Egypt for a while as well.
Oh,
so,
really?
yes, there's a
That
whole
didn't
thing about
seem
the
to
sun
take
disk.
overly.
Well, there was a period that there was the worship of the one sun disk, and that's a kind of monotheism. Any case, so I'm gonna.
I got caught up in the inauguration. I was watching the Joseph Biden inaugural speeches, and I saw our friend Ilhan Omar clapping away at the front of the audience there. I heard some of the things that I heard, like there was, I forgot her name, but there was a beautiful young poet who like rocked her face. She just did so amazing. What a beautiful poem. And also Lady Gaga.
See, in Hebrew it would be Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
She belted out that national anthem of the United States, and she also rocked it. But anyway, we'll talk now about the inauguration. But I just wanted to say, that I did not make the cocoa because I got caught up in making the dinner, and it was chicken, and then the chicken came out. It was hot. What was I going to do?
Cocoa.
So I really screwed up this winter very badly, courtesy of Joseph Biden.
Okay, just so you know, cocoa no go with meat. With chicken. It ain't, and it's a no go.
And I didn't have rice milk, and my kids would have sniffed that out in 2 seconds anyway. If I tried to use parve milk.
No, that would never work. That would never work. Listen, yesterday was an emotional day, and I really definitely felt that for me personally, there was discombobulation, and I suffered from discombobulanosity. And there's no vaccine for that last night. And the reason I suffered from discombobulation is because I won't deny it, and I won't hide it. I was strongly supportive of the policies of President Donald Trump. And
vis-a-vis Israel, especially.
Vis-a-vis Israel and the Middle East, especially.
Right.
And I felt that we were really on an upswing, and really many of our many of the wish list of lies that we wanted to eviscerate from this world
were starting to get erased.
We're getting erased.
I saw an article last night after the inauguration saying that as far as the Abraham Accords was concerned, the next countries on the list were Mauritania and Indonesia, but that they just ran out of time. And one could say, well, what do you mean ran out of time? You can just go join the Abraham Accords now, and maybe that will happen, God willing, right? But, the Trump administration gave attractive welcome packages to these countries.
It's more than that, Malka. It's more than that. It's more than that. And this is an important thing to understand. The Trump doctrine was Israel should be our ally of the United States and should be a strong local country.
Right.
When the Arab and Muslim countries around us understood that this is the party that's going to be supported, and add to that other things, which is Iran is dangerous for us, and that the Palestinian Authority and the Palestinian thing is really very corrupt, and the people, the Arabs themselves that identifies Palestinians are themselves not happy with the Palestinian Authority, and that Israel is really never going to leave these places, and that America recognizes them, and America recognizes the Golan Heights in Jerusalem. That whole thing is a big old waste of time. And
what whole thing? You mean fighting Israel and trying to shrink us down,
right?
And trying to create new states out of our state,
right? And so it became a big waste of time. And so they started saying it's not worth it. And I wrote a big article on this on JNS, and it was also translated and put up. I translated and put it up on Midah magazine in Hebrew. And this was 7 reasons why the Arab world is going post-jihad. This was my term, post-jihadism. And then I wrote a big article in Newsweek about the anti-lies policies of President Trump. And so we were really heading in a good direction. I was hoping for another 4 years of President Trump. But now, folks, I'm sorry, I'm just not going to get into his character and these issues. That's just, I have to worry about what we have to worry about here. And I'm not saying that means at the cost of what's good for America, which, by the way, I have my opinions, but I'm not going to opine here because I think this is an Israel show about Israel and not about America. I was talking about from here.
Although, Yishai, we have so many friends who are listening from the United States, and everybody is really looking to everybody's really looking to the future and hoping that things are going to be good. And, I think that there are people who listen to our show who voted for Biden and they believe in him and
Absolutely.
they believe in his message. And I really want to say that I hope you get like the good unity and the progress and the peace that you wanted. I am mamash do. And
that's why I'm talking about policies.
Right. While we here in Israel are sad to see Trump go, especially because of what that meant to us here in this region and what we feel like it really meant to the world to have these kind of policies in place. Nonetheless, I think that while Biden made a speech about unity, which of course I appreciate, and here in Israel, we also want unity. There's so many different kinds of Jews and it's a particularly hard time in terms of coronavirus and the economy and everything. So I understand that. I think that is a very, very good call. I think that there should be a call for unity. At the same time, I saw in his speech kind of some like attacks on people who it seemed to me, okay, attacks on people from the other side of the aisle, and then like going back to talking about unity and then I don't know, but I think that there is definitely hope, and certainly in America is very proud of its democracy and its ability to go 4 years with one candidate and then go 4 years with another candidate, go 4 years with another candidate, and all these checks and balances and everything. And I really do want to bless America. From the bottom of my heart, I want to bless America with upward mobility and progress and health and unity and safety, wisdom, and just all the things that America wants. I really, I was not a Biden supporter, right? But Biden is the president of the United States now, and I really hope God will give him the mind and the heart to do the job properly and for the good of the whole world.
Look. Let's just be real. I'm just going to talk about myself. I don't even want to include you because I know these are sensitive topics. One second. I needed that. I needed to. There's something on the internet that I wanted to show people.
We're just looking here. We're on our. Yishai, if you could, before you make your comments, if you could scoot up a little bit closer, because it makes it look like I have a super giant head and then you have a little head.
No, that's the way it is.
No, see, it's better now.
Oh, I thought that's the way it is. I thought you had the giant head and I had the little head. Anyway, I want to say, just joking, Malka. I was making fun of myself, not of you.
Yes.
I want to say that I'm going to give President Joe Biden the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to bless America and I'm going to bless those people. But right. I think the likelihood is that we're going to have to go. Israel's going to have to go into a few years of people like us, especially, are going to have to go into the defensive mode. Okay.
Well, we saw already yesterday. You saw there was a big ruckus because the U.S. Ambassador to Israel, who was David Friedman up until a few hours ago, who was obviously an outwardly pro-Israel person. His account, he now has a private account on Twitter. David M. Friedman is his new private account. But his account that he was using for the last 4 years was US Amb Israel. So that account belongs to the United States. And they're putting their new ambassador on top of that account, who I'm not sure if they have yet, that person. But they changed the title from U.S. Ambassador to Israel to U.S. Ambassador to Israel, West Bank, and Gaza for a little bit. And then everyone was like, what? And then they changed it back to U.S. Ambassador to Israel. But it sort of felt like a little bit of a
preview,
like foreboding of things to come.
Right. There's no and the meaning of that is that the West Bank is not Israel. Is not Israel. Of course, that's where we live, and that's what we believe is not only Israel, but the heart of Israel.
But it's written in the book that it's Israel. Also, the book, capital T, capital B.
That's right, and it's written now also in American policy.
Right.
I just here's the point that I wanted to get to. I gave you my opinion, dear folks that say, well, what about America is good for it? I gave you our opinion from Israel. That's it. We're done. Now I want to say something completely different, which is, hail to the chief, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God of Israel. He's in the driver's seat.
He's still the chief.
Right,
he was the chief a week ago, and he's going to be the chief a week from now. Right,
and so for example, Joseph here on Facebook writes, Biden is a disaster for Israel. Maybe Biden is a disaster for Israel, but Israel's not going to face a disaster. We're moving forward.
Bezrat Hashem.
We're moving forward, and maybe he won't be. I don't know. I want to be open-minded. Wait, now, one second.
Yes.
I just want to say, hail to the chief. The God of Israel is in the house. We are moving forward. For those people who are happy about Biden, great. For those people who are mourning,
it should be
great,
good.
absolutely. And for those people who are mourning Trump, I get you. But we, the Jewish people and the Jewish story, is moving forward. Amen. Everybody say amen out there.
Amen.
Speaking of that,
Yes.
we also have allies from around the world. For example, here's Katrina
Smith, Juris.
who says shalom from the Czech Republic.
Shalom.
Okay, and later on, here's Cornell who says shalom from Romania.
Shalom.
And speaking of Romania, parenthetically, I just want to say, last week I said that Melania Trump is from Romania. That is not true. She's from Slovenia. Okay, and
Sorry, Melania.
That was a mistake of mine. So I want to fix that. Thank you, Ari Silverman, for fixing my mistake. But the other thing I wanted to say is that we have friends in Eastern Europe, in India, and many other places around the world. There's many other places that are with us, including millions of people in the United States and around the world, everywhere. And I have many friends that deal with pro-Israel people around the world, and we love you, and God bless you. And the show is here for you. And let us feel strength inside. Let us feel the strength inside, and let's be thankful for the time that we just had and go forward. Let us connect with new people, not because we want to connect with people because we need allies because we're afraid. No.
Although I have to say that all of us need each other, Yisha.
Right.
It's not an Israel needs an ally with nations around the world. Otherwise, we're going to not make it.
Right.
But I think that one of the things we've learned in this coronavirus period is that we all lean on our allies, and our allies are our mom, our allies are our friend, our allies are our kids. And we want our allies. We need our allies, right? And it's not necessarily because you can't make it otherwise, but because that's what makes life sweet. When you can get together around your family or get together around an idea, and and that lifts you up and that gives your life a richness. And here in Israel, we symbolize something, I think, to a lot of people. And you should know that out there, you symbolize things to us too.
Right.
And so we should be allies, not just to survive, although sometimes you need that. Let's just be honest. Sometimes you need an ally to survive, but that's not like maybe, for those people who feel like we're getting toward the end of history. Yep. But I mean the end of history in terms of the development of humankind, not necessarily the coming of the Messiah, although I hope for that too. But I mean in terms of how humankind is developing. Maybe if we're getting to that place of the end of history, then we can kind of understand that we do have an interconnectedness, and that we can lift each other up, and we should be there for each other to bring the good ideas out, to bring the best in each other out, to get to the truth more.
Absolutely. So we have to feel strength. We have to give each other strength. Here is my friend Ata Farhat, who is a Druze leader. He writes, the people of Israel will, I think, is that right, Ata? Remind me, am I right? Am I in the right picture here? He's of Druze leadership, pro-Israel Druze leadership in Israel. Writes, the people of Israel were and will remain the greater land of Israel before and after Biden. Trust in God. Amen.
Amen. Very
Amen.
nice.
That's what I'm saying, everybody. Okay, you know what I mean? We have our partisan stuff, but the big picture is that we're coming home. And yesterday, speaking of discombobulation, I was actually in a class yesterday as the inauguration was happening in the kitchen.
Yeah.
in this room,
yeah.
There was something else that was going on, which is
event.
I was watching a class about the Third Temple. The Third Temple, really, and I'm talking about a real class about what the Third Temple dimensions were, what they'll look like. Were according to
what the first temple looked like, the second temple looked like, and therefore what
the third temple according to Ezekiel. Ezekiel writes about the Third Temple, and it's bigger. It's much bigger. Okay. So we talked about. What are we talking?
I want to say one more thing though about the inauguration stuff. Is that okay?
Tfaddal.
Because I've been thinking about this.
Please.
Again, blessings to the Biden supporters. Real blessings to you. God should show that your decision was a wise one. I really hope. I really bless you. But for those of you out there who believe that the next 4 years are going to be very hard, Those of you who did not vote for Biden, those of you who think it's bad for America or bad for Israel or bad for wherever it is that you are in the world. And especially maybe Jews can relate to this. We've been through so much, the Jewish people. We've been through so many highs and lows in history. And certainly, in personal lives also, you've been through a lot, whoever it is I'm speaking to out there. You've been through a lot of things. And a Jewish person has to know how to look at a situation which seems dark and just ride it out. Roll with it.
Right.
Maybe even if you're doing a great job, maybe even become better through it. But definitely how to get through it without succumbing to it.
That's right.
And so I want to give you strength out there, all of you who are listening and who feel unsure about how the future is. You got this. We've been through harder things than this. We can make it through this. You never know when a good thing is coming your way. Sometimes a thing looks like it's really bad. It's really good. Sometimes a thing looks like it's really good. It's actually bad. Keep the faith. Keep strong. Get up every morning, brush your teeth, make your bed, watch a little bit of comedy, learn a little bit of Torah, hug somebody who is corona-free, and just keep living. Keep doing it. Keep contributing in your own small way. And the events will happen, or try to influence everything that you can for the good, and everything's going to be all right.
Okay, Ata Farhat, actually, I looked him up in my phone, and I have his contacts, but I didn't spell it right, so I didn't come up. Then I remembered that I may have spelled it a different way. Ata Farhat is from the Druze Zionist Council.
Right.
The Druze.
Amazing.
Not Jews. Right, Druze people with a different religion,
descendants of Jethro,
just descendants of Jethro, absolutely, that live on this land. How cool is that?
As wonderful, proud citizens of Israel.
That's right, and he is part of the Druze Zionist Council. And I want to tell you, Ata, if you're still watching, I want you to know that you're invited on this show anytime.
That would be amazing. That would be so interesting. I think that
I have so many people that I want to interview.
We want you on the show.
Absolutely. There's so many people that I want to interview, and every week there's so many things going on. But Ata, definitely, and great words about really having faith. One thing that I'm going to take from one of the many things I'm going to take from the Trump administration is make Israel greater again. That's right. Make Israel greater again. Malka, time to make those hats. Speaking of that, Malka, I wanted to tell you this, and I'm going to just tell you on the show. I sent you a link today. Instagram, in their supernal wisdom, keep advertising to me this brand of clothing called Palestinian Roots. And Palestinian Roots, the people that are modeling these clothes,
yep,
they seem like they may be of Arab descent,
right?
And they're wearing a lot of more Arab
keffiyahs.
Keffiyah designs, but also hats. On their socks and on the hats and on the shirts, they have a thing called, it says Palestinian Roots. The map that they have on this ad is strangely like the map of Israel. And it says...
Not strangely, it is the map of Israel.
Oh, right. That's what it is. It's the map of Israel. And I want to say...
And they call it Palestine.
So two things I want to tell you. First
Where
thing
does
is,
that leave our two-state solution?
First thing I want to tell you is that ASAP today, I want you to please order me some... I'm telling you right now, I want some of that stuff.
You're going to pay money for that?
First thing, I want to wear it. I want to be like... I want to be like, that's right. That's right. That's right. We're the original Palestinians, and that's fine. And I want to wear that stuff proudly. And I want to be able to show it to you.
Which one do you want? Do you want a socks?
No, I want a hat. I want a hat. I like hats.
You like hats? You don't want some of those keffiyah pajamas they have there? Those are cute.
Well, if...
Nope. Keep going.
If you think so, you know what I mean? Oh my gosh! Cut. I was gonna make a completely improper joke, but okay. But what I do want is I want a hat, and I want the Palestinian Roots stuff because I want to be able to say that. And second thing I want to say is, we got to make our own merch.
Yeah, I want to make merch, but I don't know how to make merch. I think about it all the time. You should know that. I think about it all the time. Okay, if you're listening to the show and you care about us at all, then I want you to write in to yishaifleischer@gmail.com this week.
No.
What do you mean, no?
The email's wrong.
Oh, I got it wrong. What is it?
YishaiFleischer.com.
YishaiFleischer.com.
Yeah,
YishaiFleischer.com. You got that?
Or YishaiAtTheLandOfIsrael.com. Or YishaiHebron.com. Okay?
YISHAI.
At YishaiFleischer.com.
Yishai Fleischer, no C.
No C.
FLEISHER.
Keep the C for savings.
.com.
Okay.
And say What kind of merch? I can't.
Oh.
I can't. Okay. I was born before the year 2000. I can't say merch. Okay. I have to say merchandise. I can't say merch.
You can say swag.
Fine. What kind of swag
Right.
would you be interested in from YishaiFleischer.com? That's what I would like to know. What kind of stuff do you think is cool?
So I want to actually turn to the people, both listening right now live or later or on the podcast, and I want to say two things. What merch, swag, merchandise stuff would you like? Would you think would be cool? Because we got a lot of great...
We got so many ideas.
We got so many great phrases and stuff that could be a lot of fun.
You can also sponsor a batch of merch. Batch of merch.
The other thing is I want to ask people is, other than Facebook and Twitter, what social media would you like to see people like myself on? What would you like to connect to? Is MeWe a thing for you? Is Telegram a thing for you? I want to hear.
Someone said that Parler's supposed to be coming back.
Parler. I want to hear.
I tried Parler. I found it hard.
I want to hear what's your experience out there, and I'm serious. I want your email on this. I mean it now. I'm crowdsourcing response here. I'm using all the modern terms here. Okay?
Wow, Yishai, you're so with it.
I'm crowdsourcing your merch. You know what I mean? Please do me a favor and get that info to me through my emails. And then Lou writes, my good friend Lou writes, he writes, make Israel great again.
All right.
No, Lou, make Israel greater again. Okay, wink, wink. And let's talk about what Erica says. She says, Israel doesn't need anybody other than Hashem. If the government should do as he said in the Tanakh, you don't need to be afraid. He promised never to give up on you and be with you. Such a promise and privilege. Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem.
Well, I could just turn off the screen right now because we don't really need anything else other than understanding that. And indeed, following a policy that is faithful and fateful. I'd like a book, Faithful and Fateful. What do you think? Is that a good title, Marco? Okay. And Luis says, Yishai, I wish I knew where I could hear you speak about the U.S. politically, especially with Trump not in office, to hear how we, the people, might respond to our people and representatives in a Israeli helpful way. Your perspective, point of view. Just saying, yes, we Jews can roll with it, but also turn a problem into an opportunity.
Right.
How do I say I love you in Hebrew? I love you both.
Oh.
First thing how you say I love you is very simple. Ani in plural for more than one people. And ani from a feminine. Ani ohevet.
Ani, here, maybe I should do feminine, not to confuse them. Ani.
It's not confusing in our time, sweetie.
By the way, I saw that Biden signed all this new legislation on his first day.
Yeah.
And one had to do with gender equality and transgender rights and stuff.
Amen and a woman.
Okay, so
that's the other thing, everybody, really. A shtickle, this is really what died. Two things died recently. The first thing that died was truth. Truth didn't die, but it went underground. What is the truth these days?
Hard to say.
And on the next segment that people will hear on the podcast with Rav Mike Foyer, he said that today, in certain circles, assertion that you have the truth is an act of violence.
Violence?
Yes, because it's like you now want to subjugate me with your
That's
truth.
Rough.
Yeah, but the other thing that went into hiding is humor.
Yeah. Can't laugh about anything.
Yeah, so you gotta laugh, and I promise you, friends, laughter is a big crutch that you could lean on. I myself, for example, I have a lot of let's say interlocutors from the other side on social media. Oftentimes, when somebody says mean things to me, I call them silly instead of calling them bad names like you, blink, blinkety blink, all that kind of stuff. I just go, you're being silly, and just that, or with a smiley face, and just that way of communicating that doesn't show that you're always stressed out by other people's stress. Just to kind of laugh it off a little bit, we're gonna laugh it off. And I want to tell you something. I think that President Obama, in my opinion, was not a friend to Israel and wanted bad for Israel. That's my opinion, okay? And that's I would call it my learned opinion, in the sense that I think I studied this well. But I want to tell you something. A lot of the stuff that he did turned into positive stuff for Israel. Okay, including the empowerment of Iran brought many of the Arab states into our corner.
Right.
And so there you go. Hashem has got his plan, and we got to be, of course, the simple political aspect is be strong in your land. Don't give up your land. And we are seeing a wholesale theft today by the Palestinian Authority of the land of Israel that friends, it should be a simple policy that the state of Israel should adopt now, which is to hold on to the land that's ours and not have it stolen away from us by folks that are doing really the most basic of all crimes, which is theft. That we should not allow.
Right. Okay, well, let's get back to Luisa's question, though, because she asked, how do you say I love you?
Yes.
Now, if I'm saying it, I go, Ani ohevet otach. I love you, lady. Or if I want to say it to a boy, I say, Ani ohevet otcha. I love you.
Right.
The
key word there is ahava, love.
And how do you say it if you're a man?
Ani ohev otach, ani ohev otcha, ani ohev otchem. I love all of you. I love everybody in this room. Okay.
Anachnu ohavim otchem.
אנחנו אוהבים אתכם.
We love
אנחנו אוהבים את אחד השני. I love you. I love you.
I love you like a lot.
I love you a lot. Let's have peace, okay? Let's have peace and high tech, okay? And falafel, okay?
Merch.
Okay, merch. Luis says, put up all your sayings and merch ideas and let us vote on it. Simple.
That's a good idea, but then everyone will know our awesome ideas.
Yeah, but they don't care. They want you to make it, and then they want to wear it. They want to wear the stuff, Malka. Yeah. They want to wear it, okay? You wear it well. Pierre Cardin, God bless him.
Yeah, Lou says, I think you should check out Rumble, which is similar to YouTube. It's growing as a platform very rapidly.
I want to get on Rumble. I want to rumble over to Rumble. I just like that name. I like that Rumble. Rumble. I feel Rumble a lot of times in the morning before I eat my breakfast. But I want to rumble definitely forward. What else do we want to talk about on the show, Malka? What else was there anything else?
Well, we got the corona. We could always talk about that. Coronavirus getting better. We're still getting reports from different people about how incredibly great / horrible it is to get the coronavirus vaccine. That never gets old.
Who got horrible?
You know, not that it hurts them or something, but that not that they suffer.
Every single person
but there's
I've
a lot of
spoken
people
to
who say it's horrible, don't get it,
no,
it's bad for you.
No, we're not going there on the show. We're done. We're done with that. I'm not going there.
Okay, so we're not going there. But there's a lot of people right now who are in Bidood.
Wait. Everybody that I know that got the vaccine is fine. I have not heard one personal. Here's my thing. I'm trying to commit now to truth that I know. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I want to report truth that I know. And I know that my friends, not all, many of them, 4, 5, 6, 7, who have had the vaccine.
They're feeling fine.
Okay.
But you know people who aren't going to be getting it also.
I know people are good, but I'm not going there. I'm not this show.
Okay.
I don't want to go there. It's too, do what you think is right. God bless you. You know what I mean? do your thing. I don't want to, I'm not a medical doctor.
Well, I will say though.
But I do play one on TV.
I will say though that governmental reports are that the Pfizer vaccine is doing very well here in Israel, and that some 98% of people are showing that they have antibodies after receiving the second shot. The whole world is really looking to Israel now because Pfizer made a deal with Israel that it would test the vaccine on Israel and give them all like huge amounts of vaccine in exchange for all the data. So Israel is vaccinating itself already. Anyone 40 and over, boy, I'm almost qualified.
You're never going to qualify.
Anyone 40 and over is entitled now to take a number to make an appointment and to go get their first vaccine.
Yep.
And I know people who've already had their second vaccine.
Yep.
And it's going to get you something called like a green passport, which basically gives you access to all the stuff that you wanted access to the airport, to cultural events and stuff that they're going to start to let open up again to people who have gotten both vaccines. Right now, nobody's talking about children, but I did hear, like I keep seeing in articles about coronavirus, that they expect to have the whole population vaccinated by March. And when they say the whole population, I guess they mean children too. So that's like a whole other question.
Look what Angela Barnes writes. She writes something so, Angela, God bless you, because you're writing something so true and something so basic.
Right.
I would like teaching materials for teaching Israeli history to children with activities and workbooks.
That's like the most wonderful American question I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's I don't know if it's American or not.
No, it is, because in America you go on Amazon, or I guess in the UK you can too, but in America you go on Amazon and there's like 25 workbooks for any topic that you want. 25 different workbooks and activity books with colors, with pictures, with everything. And it's made so well. And the truth is, Angela, I'll look into it. But the truth is that I'm not sure if such a thing exists.
Angela, please write us an email with hashtag teaching materials. Email to yishai@yishaifleischer.com or yishai at thelandofisrael.com or yishai at hebron.com. It really depends on you. It really depends on your feelings.
Which
what you
name
need to,
do you want?
Because like God, I have many names. Okay, many emails. Okay,
just like God. To me.
Actually, just the reason I made that joke just now is because many years ago, I've told this story before, but I love this story because it happened so spontaneously that many years ago, I was giving a speech to a huge group. I happen to remember where it was and who the group was. It happened to be a group of homeschooling parents and children, and we were living in Beit El, and we were on the water tower there, and this big like water tower that you could stand on. And this child, I was explaining about God and God's name and how he called Jacob back. And the child asks me, he says, "Why does God have so many different names?" And Hashem shot a thought into my mind. And that thought was, I said to him, it's like a very powerful businessman who's got different email accounts. One for this business, one for this business, one for family. And he's got all these accounts. And they've got different names. And when you turn to God vis-a-vis this email account, you're asking for this kind of issue, but of course it goes to the same God entity,
right.
The
businessman
the businessman,
right.
the metaphor. And that's how I explain the names of God. And that's where I made that joke from right now. Malka, speaking of the names of God, this show is sponsored. God sponsors us all the time, but it's also sponsored by many good organizations and friends. Two are skincare products. Okay, one is beard isn't skin, but
facial
product.
Care.
One is Aleph Male, and when you get Aleph Male beard balm, you are going to be the bomb. Okay, because you are going to be, as we say, moving from just a rabbi to a sage. Or from just a rabbi to a chacham, you are really going to be embalmed. Okay,
upgrade your man.
Upgrade your manliness
with Aleph Male.
Right, from the land of Israel. So it's Hebrew masculinity, not toxic masculinity.
I think it's organic.
Organic masculinity from the Hebrew homeland, which is really, really neat. So check out alephmale.com. Put in coupon code Yishai10, get 10% off, and you will be... Now, the only thing is I recommend to grow a beard first, okay? I just want to say that's an asterisk. But the other thing is, if not, you could use it on your hair or other things, but I recommend to grow out the beard first. That's Aleph Male. However, let's say you're not in the beard thing, because either you're not
beardy.
I don't want to say which sex you may be.
Like you're a girl?
I don't want to say that because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, But if you self-identify as a beardless person, or even a person, or what does the word beard even mean?
A person with a beard.
Yeah, whatever.
Or without a beard.
My point, I'm making fun, of course, but what I mean is...
Humor.
If you just have good old skin that you want to treat right.
Why would... That's
salves of Jerusalem.
But all persons can use salves of Jerusalem.
On all parts.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes, okay.
And especially in this wintertime, you're getting all chappy.
Yeah, you don't want the chap.
That.
That's
so
right.
You got some nice, wonderful
also,
organic.
But that hurts my feelings. Like, why would you say in this period? Like, maybe it's not wintertime. Half the audience could be on the other hemisphere.
That's
Malka.
true.
Have a little like. Don't be hemispherically.
Well, Australians just want the glow.
Yeah, but don't be a hemispheric bigot.
Aggression.
Okay, yeah.
We are never going to stop making these jokes ever.
Hemispheric bigot.
Tune in next week.
One of my favorite jokes in this whole period, I can never get it out of my mind, was this like during Passover cleaning, and you see like somebody scooping up like a piece of bread, and the piece of bread is like, wait, I self-identify as matzah.
Right.
I love that one. Okay. So now back to so we talked about Aleph Male. We talked about salves of Jerusalem. Get your soul glow. Okay, so check out salvesofjerusalem.com. Put in coupon code Yishai. Bang, to get 10% off. Our good friends at Chelik.
We're a veritable savings bank for you guys.
That's right. You don't want to lose money. You want to get that order now. check out Tchelet, Tekhelet.
Right, you got Adar rolling around. You know, we're almost at Tu B'Shvat. Hey.
Oh, I wanted to talk with you about this.
Can we talk about it here?
You could talk about this. I want to do a live stream Tu B'Shvat Seder from our house.
A live Tu B'Shvat Seder. Are you guys interested in that? Let us know. You can also email, or you can write here also. We're still broadcasting live from Facebook, from Twitter, from what am I missing? YouTube. Are we on Telegram right now?
No, not live stream. I just sent the link to my group. But you could join my new group, the Yishai Fleischer Israel is Real group.
On Telegram.
No, Real Israel. That's what I called it. Real Israel.
And of course, you can email Yishai at yishaifleischer.com and let us know, would you be interested in taking part in a Tu B'Shvat Seder live with us from Judea? That's
right. So that's coming up next week. Tu B'Shvat, Jewish Arbor Day, and we speak for the trees. Okay, that's it. Wait. So Tchelet. That the reason you mentioned that is because Tchelet
because Adar is coming up.
Adar, and
the month
we have
of Purim. And
that's right. We celebrate Tchelet Mordechai, the Tchelet that Mordechai wore,
right, mentioned in Megillat Esther.
Right. So let's get you decked out in some biblical blue string, which is back after 2,000 years hiatus, and so therefore I highly recommend you check out. Yaakov Walk says not Twitch. Oh my God, I don't even know what Twitch is.
Okay. Oh, Andrea Phelps says get on Twitch. What is this, people?
Are you serious? What is Twitch? What is that? I don't even know what that is.
We'll look into it.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Get more. Our phones are going to explode.
Yeah, seriously. Seriously, get more RAM, people. I'll tell you that much. Seriously. That's my one piece of advice.
Andrea says yes to the Tu B'Shvat.
Yes, and so and so does other people. In any case, okay. Do we have any more sponsors that we want to talk about? Hebron Fund, the Jewish community of the Hebron.
So important. I got to tell you, people, there's not any tourism happening up in Hebron right now. And so your support for that site will help a lot of basic stuff continue to happen, all kinds of upkeep and things like that.
Right.
Also, I won't lie, I think it's, and I'm not saying this just to squeeze your money out of you, but I genuinely think that it's a merit to take part in the support of the tombs of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, and Leah. And of course, you can, any of your donations can be dedicated to, in honor of someone, in memory of someone, of celebration of something. And it's a beautiful way to do something Jewish and pass it forward.
Amen. And a woman. And the other thing I want to say is check out Blessed by Israel.
Yes.
You can be blessed by buying, B-U-Y, buying something from Israel, and it'll come to your house wherever you are. And that's really fun to have Israel come to you. So that's blessedbyisrael.com. Coupon code Yishai will give you 12% off. That's a lot of fun. And I guess the other last three sponsors are the Land of Israel Network, which has many other great shows. Check them out. And Ari and Jeremy, the creators of the Land of Israel Network, also now have this beautiful fellowship. Join them.
On
check
Sundays,
it out.
They have a live program,
right.
especially for non-Jewish supporters of Israel around the world, but also Jewish supporters. There are Jewish supporters who are tuned in. It's certainly Jewish friendly. And some people who are taking part in it just absolutely love it. So it's worth looking into.
That's right. And finally, our organization, which has a lot of people working for it, we got Ben Bresky, we got Yocheved, we got Yolena, we got myself and Malka, and we're trying to push it out. A lot of platforms. Moshe, of course.
Tabitha.
Oh my God, Tabitha. Well, Tabitha works for the Land of Israel Network. God bless her. Thank you so much for getting it out. Any case, the point is the team. There's a lot of folks working to get the message out to you. Appreciate that. If you appreciate this programming, appreciate the folks that make it happen. Funding makes all the difference. So thank you. Check out YishaiFleischer.com. We recently redid the donate page. We take things like we'll take your Zelle, we'll take your Cash App, we'll take your Venmo, Google Pay, Schmoogle Pay as well.
Very convenient.
Schmoogle Pay is excellent. Schmoogle Pay. That's right. We'll take you however you got it. We can take it, and you're not actually supporting us. You're being part of it. You're really being part of it.
That means a lot.
Last sponsor of the show is second to last is you, Malka. I want to thank you so much for making things happen. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience and your time, your dedication. Thank you to the God of Israel, who has given us he's damnut, such an opportunity to be alive in this time. And right now, if you're a little bit down or whatever it is, get strength up, get up right now. Corona's going to leave this world. Israel's going to move forward. We're going to be building a third temple starting now. It's coming soon, Temple 3.0. And that's a good hat, right? That would be cool. Right? Coming soon.
We can bring that, yeah, Temple 3.0.
Right, coming soon, Elijah, coming soon, Temple 3.0. I think that people really like that. And I want to bless you, my friend, who does such a great job at tweeting. Also, Johan Biju George says, God bless you, brother.
God bless you.
And I send you back blessings wherever you're from, wherever you guys are at. Again, write us an email. It makes a big difference. And Yaakov says we have comments on YouTube. Yeah, I see some of the comments on YouTube, Yaakov. I see them. Any case,
maybe there's more that we're not seeing.
Maybe. But in any case, one thing is for sure is that, he says, Johan says, he says, Hail Jerusalem.
Yes.
That's right. Hail Jerusalem. I like that. I think, Hail to the chief in Jerusalem. I got to figure out exactly the title of the show. And speaking of the show, if you want to connect to the show, Johan is connecting from India. If you want to connect to the podcast, please sign up for our podcast. They're found anywhere. Just type in Yishai Fleischer podcast. It's on all the major stuff. Yeah. And if you are listening to the podcast, then coming up right now is Rav Mike Foyer with the Torah portion of the week. And if you are on social media, you could just go back down on like Facebook and on Twitter, and you could see my recording with Rav Mike Foyer. I want to thank everybody so much again. I want to thank, did I say thanks to Ben Bresky?
Yes.
I did, right. Ben and the rest of the team, and Moshe and Yocheved and Yelena and Tabitha, you guys are great. And lots of love. And as we say here on the show, blessings from the land of blessings. And Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thanks for listening.
Shalom, everybody, and welcome to the Yishai Fleischer Show, broadcasting live on Facebook, on Periscope, on YouTube, and of course on my podcast, the Yishai Fleischer Israel Podcast, broadcasting on the Land of Israel Networks. And there is Lou Weiss joining us. Shalom, Yishai and Rav Mike. And Benji says the sound looks good, and Peace Flows sends sound and video okay. So that means that we are ready. Rav Mike Foyer joins us. Rav Mike, shalom and welcome.
Oh, shalom, Yishai. It's good to see you.
It's great to see you. It's great to have you on board right now. I know that we have to end in about 45 minutes because you have to go get your vaccination.
That is the truth. I am joining the masses here in our wonderful country, which is mastered vaccine distribution while at the same time almost completely ignoring the spread of the virus. It's kind of an interesting combination. My theory is that we're just going for herd immunity as fast as humanly possible, and since you can't actually get everybody the vaccine at once, we'll just let everyone else get sick.
Maybe it's a giant placebo thing, and that's why we have all these vaccines, and yet it keeps going.
We have become a lab for Pfizer, so it wouldn't surprise me if some number of us are getting the sort of control test there.
Well, the Director General of the Jewish community of Hebron got a phone call, Uri Karzan got a phone call telling him that he was positive for Corona, and yet he informed them delightfully that he had not even taken a test. So what were they referring to?
Now they've just begun to tag you by statistics. You must be positive, right?
That's right. And this show, by the way, is dedicated to Uri because it is his birthday. And I want to wish him really continued success in leading the Jewish community forward, the Jewish community of Hebron forward for strength and continued vitality, a reborn vitality. That's right. Amen. And also for him and the Jewish community, which protects the tombs of the forefathers and mothers all the way from 3,800 years ago. So really neat stuff. So happy birthday to you, Uri. You're getting a vaccine, and today also is the day that is the last day of the Trump administration. And Indeed. So there was what I thought was a quite beautiful farewell address by President Trump, which I thought was conciliatory and peacemaking, and stood on the successes, including one success which I thought to myself that, boy, you'd think that the liberals would appreciate more. And what he said was, I'm really the first president in a long time who hasn't gotten America into any new wars.
Yeah, I've seen a bit of that in the press. No, not in the liberal press, but amongst the sort of like social media and the conservative side, which I hadn't really thought about. And he has managed to stay out of conflict.
Right.
which is an impressive feat.
It is, and there's so many different opinions and so many hot opinions, including an opinion piece that I wrote in the Newsweek,
Which I did get to read.
Yeah, how was that? How did it look to you?
And I agree with the sentiment that this idea of a reality-based foreign policy, speaking about truth instead of ideology, and also whatever one feels about President Trump, the fact that he came from outside the established policy community offered opportunities which I hope won't be lost with the incoming administration.
And as I was saying before, it's a very passionate and heated debate. A good friend of yours and mine said to me on WhatsApp. He was writing to me. He says to me, maybe I'll just read it directly. Maybe it'll sound better. And I don't want to say exactly who it is, but he let's say
he who shall not be named.
That's right. He writes, "What troubles me more is the extent to which the Trump years revealed Israel's national camp to still suffer from exilic thinking. We shouldn't want a better emperor in Washington, but freedom from the empire. The dangers of a friendly U.S. administration that seeks to take 70% of the territories from Israel is more dangerous than an unfriendly administration that wants to take 100%. Israel knows how to resist Esav's bite, but not his kiss. So long as our national camp is so full of slaves."
Ooh.
El Khayani is one of the mayors of in the Jordan Valley, who was kind of more anti-Trump. He says El Khayani's analysis is correct. A Biden administration will be safer for Israel. I wrote back, "Sorry, but I disagree. The Trump years were about the Gentiles accepting the truth of Israel and about the good side of Esav splitting off from Lavan." And I meant by that like the years of trickery and lying, saying that you support us, but actually, in fact, not support us and support our enemies, Lavan style, and bringing Ishmael into alliance with Israel. And then I explained, feeling the need to have a bad Esav so that Jews don't fall for it is actually exilic thinking.
Ooh.
Like you need a boogeyman to keep Jews in line.
Yeah, kind of like anti-Semitism keeps you Jewish.
Right. It's like, oh, we'll be much better off if they really, really hate us. And, this is, I think in your history podcasts, you must have covered Napoleon and the Alti Rebbe's position, the first Lubavitcher Rebbe's position, that kind of freedom was going to be bad for us. But I don't think this is like that. I think it's much more, I don't think that Trump did a lot for Israel. He did a lot of stuff to scale back the stuff that America was doing that was anti-Israel. And thereby bringing, as you said before, and as I mentioned in Newsweek, a reality-based or truth-based foreign policy, which is like, why are we saying that we support our ally, but actually support its enemies? Why would we give pallets of cash and a green light for an Iranian nuclear bomb? Why would we give money that we know goes to Palestinian Authority sponsored terror? Why would we do that? Let's stop doing that. That's not good for us. Why do we keep our ally weak? And to me, it's not like it was a gift to Israel. It was like a gift to America to stop talking out of two sides of its mouth.
I mean, I think it's a gift in general, and it's one of the things that that maybe we can expect from the incoming administration. Some like very clear talk of opposition, but I think you're right. They sort of like doublespeak, which became acceptable, particularly in Americans' Middle Eastern policy, will be much harder to reestablish. In the wake of the Trump administration's sort of the attempt to, like you said, to pursue a reality-based policy. So we'll see. It all begins today.
Now, that begins today, and we're exactly in the Torah portions of dealing with Pharaoh, right? A
new one that didn't know Joseph.
That's right. There's a new one that didn't know Joseph, or didn't know Joseph. Maybe his name was like Joseph. You notice that? Okay. In any case, he didn't know himself or something like that. But interesting, here's another twist of thought that I heard from Ari Abramowitz. And Ari Abramowitz on one of the recent Israel fellowships Land of Israel Fellowships, he said something that I never heard before. He said that the idea that God limited the freedom of Pharaoh is actually the opposite. Limited his what am I looking for here?
His
Freedom
choice.
of choice. His choice, right? Is he the Torah says that he stopped him from having free choice, basically. But Ari Abramovitz explained in the name of the Seforno that that actually what God did was actually give him free choice, because when God revealed himself in Egypt with all these plagues, it became kind of impossible to believe that there isn't a God.
Right.
And that Israel shouldn't be freed. So he returned to him his free choice so that he can choose to do exactly what he wanted to do, which is to say no. And to be like,
nice.
No, I don't believe in this God, and I don't want to release the Jews. Right?
I mean, it's very profound, because that means if he had chosen to do what was right, he would have chosen to do what was right because it was right, and not because of the duress of the sort of direct exposure of God's will.
Right. That's right. And Lou reminds us we're talking about free will. Free will. Speaking of free will. Yes, free willy. That's right. Speaking of free will, one of the main things that, how much will and choice do we really have? In many ways, we're very limited. We don't decide when we're born. We don't even decide a good amount of our intellect. We don't really even decide a good amount of the station that we are in life. There's a lot of things that are kind of predetermined for us.
Your gender, your genetics, your education, your etc. I mean, there's actually very little which you do decide.
What's that? I missed that last part. There was a buffer. What'd you say?
I said there's very little which you do decide.
Right.
And that's why our sages say, Kol b'yedei shamayim chutz mirat shamayim.
Right.
That actually everything's in the hands of heaven except the fear of God. Mm-hmm. Meaning what you do is actually you choose who you serve. You choose the story within which you fit the experiences of your life. Mm-hmm. You choose how you respond to that which you've been given. So the choices that we do have are very much informed by the content that we consume, the media that we watch, and we've really seen manipulations of that recently. And I really don't care now on what side of the political aisle you're on. That's really not important. The fact is our thinking is being manipulated by people who think about how to manipulate thinking. Think about what I'm trying to say. And make a lot of money off it.
Right, make a lot of money, and somebody's scientifically approaching how to keep us addicted and how to keep us in a certain mental line. Think about that for a second.
You have been hacked. That's what it comes down to.
Oh
Your mind has been hacked, both on a biochemical perspective and a psychological perspective. Your mind has been hacked.
Wow. I got to tell you, I think I found a Greek quote. I think my mom helped me find it from, I think it's Aeschylus or a Greek, I don't know how to pronounce this, but he said the first casualty of war is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And I really feel like we're living in a time where truth as a commodity is rarefied. It's become very rare to really know what truth is.
I would take that one step further, is that there's huge portions of Western culture, at least, that are now actively fighting against the very idea. Because truth is a rare commodity, at least implies that it's there and it can be found and etc. But a huge part of the postmodern element of Western society is actually in an active fight against that. To even claim there is such a thing as truth is an act of sort of basically power and violence.
Oh my gosh, that's a mind spinning thought to me. Right, I see exactly what you're saying. If you're postmodern, everybody's got truths, and if you want to say I have truth, that is an act of violence.
It is an act of violence, and
Wow.
and indubitably motivated by a desire for power.
Wow.
That
is that's a fascinating thought. I just want to say that I am very happy that within various circles there is new technologies that are coming to challenge some of the both thought control and the peering into of our lives. For example, Signal or DuckDuckGo, or these guys that are saying, hey, We understand that privacy is important to you. We don't want to get into your kishkas. We want to help you search the internet freely without thinking that somebody's looking over your shoulder. And I downloaded DuckDuckGo the other day into my phone, on the advice of our friend Zev, and I was just like, it's great and it feels great. Now, do I know for sure that this Android phone, which is a Google phone, is no longer spying on me? No, but I like the atmosphere that somebody's gone up to challenge. And you and I, before the show, we were talking that it could be that one of the things, and this happens sometimes with power-hungry entities, that the tech giants maybe overstep their bounds just enough for people to be like, wait a minute, I'm not actually comfortable with giving you all my information for free. I'm not comfortable with becoming my data being your commodity, and I'm not comfortable with you hacking my brain, like you were just saying. And so I want to support those entities that are like, yeah, no, we're going to give you your privacy back, and we're going to challenge the big boys. And that to me, by the way, is a sign of a certain health in America and in the world, that I was happy to see that such a thing is rising up now.
Yeah, no, at a certain point, the radical individualism that technology offers. I mean, there's kind of two ways that technology goes. I can live in my own world, but I can also be completely consumed by somebody else's. But the more accessible the technology becomes, the more it opens the door for actual freedom. The problem is are we willing to walk through it, right? Or is the sort of temptation of convenience and of going with the flow and a very naive trust that we've all had in the industries that created these things. It's not a simple equation that's driving people.
That's right. But when you overstep your bounds, you kind of remind people, wait a minute.
It's a wake-up call.
Right. I don't want to be your robot.
Right.
I'm not here to serve. Resistance is futile. It's like, maybe it's not so futile, Maybe it's good to, and I always say this, and I wish I had a softer way of saying this, but my mother once pointed out to me a very famous study that women that struggle against their accosters in rape situations were much healthier, even though they may have been more battered in the short term. They fared better psychologically later on. And
Yes.
that really that study taught me that struggling, even without necessarily winning, struggling is itself a very healthy value. And the fact that people are struggling to get their privacy back now, I think, is a healthy value.
Yeah, but it's a part of a larger conversation about agency and the role that agency plays in both the human condition and in psychological behavior. I tell people in my counseling all the time that for instance, someone who perhaps is facing a divorce situation, right, and feels that it could be easy to throw in the towel and enter into the conflict, etc. But I always say, listen, you got to do what's right, even when you think it's not going to work. Because should you not win the race, you still want your legs to be pumping for all they're worth when the whistle blows. Because then at least you can look yourself in the eye every morning and say, I did everything I could. Mm-hmm. And that maintenance of agency beyond any hope for success or achievement, etc., is a critical element of a sense of self-worth and just the ability to function in life.
All right, so that's great. Let's get to the self-worth of a man who's in the spotlight, and it's not President Trump or President Biden, but it's rather Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and God is hardening his heart. We gave a different explanation earlier than that. But there's going to be the last 4 plagues. It's the last triad, plus the denouement, plus the big one, right?
The denouement is after the big one.
Oh, the denouement is the plus one. Oh, so no,
the denouement is
right.
The denouement is like the after the climax. It depends on where you put the climax.
All right, so then the climax in this case. Gosh, I wish I had a Latin or French word for it right now, but whatever. Anyway, so in any case, we're going to have the locusts. The locusts are going to come on, and they're going to cover the eye of the land. I was wondering about that because the eye of the land in many ways is like, what does that mean? The eye of the land.
It's a weird.
Yeah. Maybe it means we no longer see. We no longer see things clearly anymore. And this darkness of the of the of the of the
The loci.
loci. I don't think,
Just
yeah, I think it's locusts, but in any
think it's
case,
just locusts.
because loci is like location.
Yeah.
Um, and so you have got these locusts. That's pretty bad. And then there's this verse that I always point out every year, the famous verse that it says that Moses and Aaron like demand again to let my people go, and he says to them, "Sure, go serve them." Who exactly is going? Give me the lists.
Right, me.
Right, the famous lists, the lists of the Jews. Right, mi v'mi ha'holchim. Who exactly do you expect to go? Just hand me over the list, and I'll look it over, and some people will be like this. Right. It's like that book, Perfidy. Remember that book, Perfidy? It's like, give me the list of the Hungarian Jews type of thing. Mi v'mi ha'holchim. The other explanation of that is he says that Pharaoh says to Moses, this is according to the Balaturim, he says to him, don't you know that you're not going to make it to the land of Israel? Don't you know that you're never gonna get power yourself? Because I see in the stars and the constellations that you're not gonna win this one. You're gonna die in the desert. And then Moses says to him, well, actually, everybody between 20 and 60 is gonna go in. The younger than 20 and the older than 60-year-olds are gonna go into the land of Israel. And mi v'mi stands for Kalev and Yehoshua. Caleb, the son of Yefuneh, and Yeshua, they will go into the land. Indeed, they're the ones that are going to make it in there. So Pharaoh kind of says, like, come on, buddy, come on, man. You're not going to get power.
Your interest, right?
Yeah. And he's like, because it's not about me, but my people are going to go. They are going to inherit this land.
Yeah. So I'm got nothing to really add to that. It's
Well, what do you think about power talking back to truth? And being like, come on, truth. Don't be over ideological. It's not really going to happen.
I mean, we've had this discussion before that as soon as one abandons hope for some sense of truth, or we can even say goodness, then everything becomes a discourse of power. And what Pharaoh is basically saying is that you're no different than I am. You're simply trying to gain power at my expense, and that morality is a tool in that discussion, right? Remember that one of the great revolutions of the Torah, and it's particularly felt in our age, is that a heroic story can actually be embodied in history. Mm-hmm. That heroic stories don't just belong to the realm of myth and aspiration, where they inspire individuals, etc., but the world is a fallen world, as Christianity would ultimately take it. And a lot of that is the Greek despair from, sort of like the ability of morality to actually go beyond the surface. The Torah here is telling a heroic story. The question of who the hero in this story is a good one, because in that observation you just made, is Paro is basically saying to Moshe, you're not the hero in this story. Mm-hmm. You're not going to make it. Right. And Moshe says, you don't understand what it means to be a Jew. Right? To be a Jew means that Am Yisrael represents God, and God is always the hero in the story, except God is the hero in the story insofar as humanity is willing to make God the hero. Right? God is not the hero in that sort of classic ancient world mythological sense. I'm going to come down and smite the enemy, then I will rule as God king. That's what Pharaoh was doing. Moshe is saying, no, it's a whole different story. We want to get rid of put it this way. Pharaoh never considered an option. He thought Moshe wanted to get him off the throne and put himself on the throne. Pharaoh never considered the option that what Moshe was looking to do was get rid of the throne. Exactly.
Now, who does this remind me of? It reminds me of the snake. The snake kind of says, like, come on, man, you're just trapped inside, God's world. He's just keeping power for himself, and he doesn't want you to eat from this tree because
you'll become competitors.
Right, and he just wants to keep you down. And it's the same thing, like, you're not going to get personal power. You're not going to succeed out there. The system's going to keep you down, so you might as well just join me. You might as well just, like, not fight this big fight. It's really senseless.
And even further, if you think that there's some sort of like a better way, there's some heroic story, there's some ultimate truth, nah, that's just about power too. That there is nothing outside of that consideration.
I mean, there's a word for all this, which is cynicism.
It's one of its expressions for sure.
Yeah, it's like cynical. It's like there's no, and I think we actually have this also. A third case of this is later on in the prophets, which is the story of Jeroboam, of Rechavam, and Yeroboam. Excuse me, Yeroboam. Right? Jeroboam is Yeravam, and basically the man of God comes to him and he says to him like, he says to him, "You're making an idol. You have to stop this. The idol, the tabernacle that you're making is going to break." But then Jeroboam says to him, like, "Why don't you come and eat with me? Let's talk about this. Let's be friends.
Yeah.
I see you're a powerful prophet. Let's let's team up. Why go fight against this? It's not going to benefit you at the end. It's like, let me make it sweet. Let me sweeten the deal for you." And I think that there's a real cynicism of power out there, and really also corruption which is easily, as we say, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and a little bit of power.
That's because when power becomes the only standard of measure of right and wrong, then it's not even corruption anymore. It's just common sense. Mm-hmm. Right? If power is your only standard of measure, then why wouldn't you do whatever it took to gain more power and maintain what you have? Like, where's the wrong in that? You understand? That's why it's so important that this whole story is an assertion that God's will lies outside of the equations of power that humanity to this very day is obsessed with.
This is deep stuff, and that's, I guess that's the revolution here. Going back to the plagues. The plague of the locusts destroyed all the foliage on the trees and all the fruits, and it brought a darkness. But the next plague, it prefigured the darkness that's coming next, which is full-on darkness, the kind of darkness that nobody can really move. There's a darkness that came onto Egypt, which is now, you can say, well, there's a crazy locust infestation that just happens, but not 3 days of darkness.
Yeah, well, and this 3 days of darkness also opens up a different layer of the story, because now, for the first time, at least in the eyes of the Midrash, we see that that there's in addition to breaking the back of the Egyptian Empire, there's also a breaking that Am Yisrael has to undergo in order to really be born out of the shards of that empire. That, as the Midrash says, 4/5 of Am Yisrael didn't want to leave. They didn't want to leave, and that darkness was an act of kindness and also an act of sort of protecting the honor of God, in that those who didn't want to leave disappeared in that time. Mm. And sadly, it's a pattern that repeats itself throughout Jewish history.
Are you calling this darkness the darkness of assimilation, or
the darkness is actually there to cover the kavod of God and Am Yisrael? Mm-hmm. I mean, the fact that 4/5 of Am Yisrael didn't want to leave slavery repeats itself, whether it's in assimilation, whether it's in people that reject the potential for our future here in the land of Israel, whether it's in those who didn't get out of Europe. Take your pick. It's not a unique phenomenon that some people have a sense that the writing is on the wall and others do not.
That's funny about the writings on the wall. Look behind me and you'll see the
it's writing. It's hieroglyphic. The hieroglyphs on the wall.
The Egyptian writing on the wall. They don't see it, and
this is a big question for me. My grandfather stowed away from Europe in 1937. Just went to Belgium, snuck onto a ship, just said, "Forget it. There's no future here anymore." But I never got to meet him. He died before I was born. But I often wonder what made him different.
Right.
Not him different than all of his peers that just simply said, "No, come on, it's not going to be that." Or even if it's bad, we'll survive. Just no more future.
My grandfather did the same thing. He was 16 years old, and he left his Polish town, and his mother was calling to him, and he wouldn't look back because he knew that evil was coming. And he went, and he ended up in Russia. but he ran away from Poland, and the rest of the family, most of the rest of the family, was wiped out in Auschwitz. So, some people they just have this sense. I don't even know if it's necessarily a character or just hearing a certain call. It's hard to know. It's hard to know what. Now, Rabbi Shmuley Botech recently penned an article in which he thought about should European Jews leave. And true to Chabad type of thinking, he said the 614th commandment, he was quoting somebody else, is that we should never let Hitler win. And
that's Emil Fackenheim.
Okay, and Emil Fackenheim, okay. And this constellation, leaving Europe, would be that Hitler wins. And so Jews should not leave Europe because it would be a loss to Europe and it would be a victory for Hitler. So people like myself hear that and I'm just like, that is such a misunderstanding of I like the idea of not letting Hitler win. That's fabulous. But not true.
It's a worthwhile essay to read, by the way. I can share it with you if you want. Yeah.
Oh, I'd like that very much, yeah.
Fackenheim was very interesting. He was a reform rabbi who really became very convinced that Israel was the future. He ended up moving here. That was probably in the 60s when he finally moved after 67. But he has a lot of interesting thought.
Sounds good. Sounds really good. I'm looking forward to that. Thank you for enlightening us about that. But Shmuley Botech's conclusion is Jews should not leave Europe. But I thought to myself, that's a funky conclusion. Isn't what Hitler really wants? And I can find it to you if you want to equate Hitler with Amalek. I can find you many sources that what Hitler or Amalek really doesn't want is the Jewish people to come to the land of Israel. That's the real thing that an Amalek agent wants to really stop from happening.
Yeah, I mean that's what came up for me is that if you leave Europe to come to Israel, you're fulfilling a mitzvah. So
right.
So it's just there's no comparison. Meaning Fackenheim's point was that Jews shouldn't give up on Judaism. That was what he was fighting against. He's saying basically speaking to American Jewry in the wake of the Holocaust and people, and it's a very important work of post-Holocaust theology, one of the earliest ones. And he's basically saying, and he's a Reform rabbi, remember? So the classic Torah Min Hashamayim theology is not holding water for him. But what he's saying is basically you can't give up on the God of Israel, you can't give up on the people of Israel, you can't give up on the Torah of Israel, because if you do, you've basically finished Hitler's job for him. You're not finishing Hitler's job by moving to Tel Aviv or Modi'in or Jerusalem. Sorry, it's not
very
at all.
Good. Very good. Well explained. I just want to put this up that Benji Zion writes, my Polish family has a similar story, Yishai. Here's my grandmother's Holocaust testimony that she filmed with Steven Spielberg. That's thank you so much for putting that up, Benji. And so cool of Steven Spielberg, who I think has an interesting record, maybe a mixed record, I think, when it comes to the Jewish story, but certainly a Jew who's made an impact. And I think that the Holocaust stuff that he did is to be certainly lauded. Some of his movies about Israel, about the killing of the terrorists of Munich.
I'm working on that episode right now.
Okay, looking forward to that. And that's, of course, on The Jewish Story. That's your other podcast here on the Land of Israel Network and on your networks as well. And people can find that at ravmike.com and jewishstory.co. And it's really one of the greatest Jewish podcasts, history podcasts certainly out there. And I really want to recommend that everybody checks it out. And it's just a great resource for all of us and well made as well.
Thank you.
All right, let's keep going. Here. So we dealt with the plague of locusts. We dealt with the plague of darkness, and we're going to deal with the big plague of the killing of the firstborn. But did I miss one? Or am I okay here? Am I good? Right. Okay. So I'm in good shape. But the truth of the matter is, we have to do a little thing here, which is to actually start the Torah. We have to start the Torah because Torah. Eat. What's that?
We got to eat.
We got to eat. Is that?
We got to eat.
That's right. Yeah, and really we got to start the Torah in the sense that here we go with the thing that makes the Jewish nation a nation. Remember, till now, everything in the Torah that we've heard about is about the leaders, the Abraham, Isaac, and Jacobs, the Moses and Aarons. Suddenly, the people are commanded. They're given Torah from Lashon, from the word hora'ah, which is teachings. Like, this is what you gotta do. This is the stuff of Judaism begins here in Parshat Bo. And that is the beginnings of the commandment that this is the first month for you, the month of Nisan. This is the first month for you. And from here on, you got to be counting it and prepare the Paschal lamb by in the face of the Egyptians. Take their god, the sheep, and bring it into your house for 4 days. Store it in your house, keep it in your house, and then slaughter it. Take its blood, put it on the doorpost so that God doesn't sweep you up with that plague as well. Show that you're different. Show that you're courageous, and begin being a nation through accepting the laws.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic transition. We've spoken about it before, the explosion of commandments that happens at this point in Sefer Shemot, in all of the book of Bereshit, of Genesis, and the previous, 11 chapters of Shemot. There are only 3 mitzvot. Mm-hmm. Here, I think it might even be as many as 20 or more. I would have to go look at the numbers. But certainly, I mean, just within the next few chapters, there's literally an explosion of mitzvot. And what's I find interesting is that it deals with sanctity in 2 of the 3 critical dimensions that Am Yisrael is going to deal with them. One is time, like you pointed out. And in certain level, time is the foundational aspect of sanctity that we've been granted to work with, because the first appearance of holiness is in the fabric of creation on the 7th day, on Shabbat. And here, that's why the sanctification of the new moon and the months is the beginning. And we know that particularly in exile, but also even in our home, we became masters of the sanctity of time, right? And building intense, cathedrals in time, if you will, out of the Moadim and Shabbat, etc. But then we deal with the sanctity of peoplehood, the sanctity of human collective existence through the Pesach. I mean, you might think, oh, when you talk about the Paschal Lamb, it's a commandment, it's an important one, but no. But if you have to look very closely, it's about the sanctification of the family and the people and the tribe, or drawing of boundaries between the circumcised and the not circumcised. Right? That it is the national covenant, in the same way that circumcision is a personal covenant. The piece that's missing here, of course, is sanctity of place, because it doesn't belong in Egypt. It only belongs, really in its essence, it only belongs in the land of Israel. Once we learn the truth of sanctity of place in the land of Israel, the future of what we call mikdash ma'at, right? The small sanctified spaces of the synagogue and the Beit Midrash will be able to be extensions of that. But there's a reason that the Midrash says that in the time of Mashiach, let it be soon, let it be now, that all the synagogues and all the Beit Midrash will pick up and fly to the land of Israel, which is like a strange Midrash, right? But on a simple level, what does that mean? I think it's that any sanctity which Am Yisrael is able to establish in physical space outside of the land of Israel is derivative of the sanctity of place, which is really only available here for us.
It's interesting. There's a lot of Midrashim and Rashis and Balaturim. Everybody mentions that God did not speak to Moses in the palace or in the kind of the town, city, right? It's like God. This was too filled with idolatry, and he wouldn't give the place the respect. It was the opposite of sanctity. It was
idolatrous. Yeah, right. It was idolatrous defilement for sure.
And God was like, "I'm not showing up here," which is an interesting thing. This idea of God not showing up somewhere. I'm not going to reveal myself here. I really actually like that a lot. One of the things I like to show my children is the fact that we don't put a mezuzah in the bathroom. And we have a big discussion about this. I'm like, does that mean that God's not in the bathroom? Well, it doesn't mean that, because when you come out, you bless God for going to the bathroom. Okay, but there's a place which is like, no, I'm not gonna show up here. Sure, I'm here because the whole world stands on God's creations every minute, every second. But no, don't force me to go in here, because it's not a place of sanctity. I'm found more in the synagogue, and I'm not so found in the bathroom in corporeal type of language. Okay,
I think that you're putting your finger on a very important aspect of the human condition, which is, listen, I'm with the Hasidim, late ata panui mine, right? There is nowhere that's empty of God. The problem is not God, so to speak. The problem is humanity. Meaning, and this is a place where that idea that the medium is the message is more than just a kitschy statement by Marshall McLuhan, but rather indicates something within human experience. Is that the limitation on God's ability to reveal these mitzvot to Moshe was not on God. it's the human condition that we would not be able to receive them in their purity if our experience was mingled with the idolatrous. Or like you're saying, from God's perspective, it's only holy and pure what's happening in the bathroom. But the human condition is such that we're not that refined, right? Our grounding in the physical essence and other things, which is what we're supposed to be. And it's not a mistake, it's not a sin. I'm not
Right, like it's a very healthy thing,
it's just
because
the human condition, right?
Right, but it's not that's not like a downside, it's an upside, because you're supposed to know that there are things that are not. It's important to know that there's a not holy place as opposed to a place that is holy. If you think that the bathroom is holy, then you're never going to believe that Jerusalem is holy. But if you're going to believe that there's a place that's not as holy in your house, you're going to believe that there's a place that's even holier that you're supposed to go to.
And that's what I mean by the human condition, and that very human condition is an aspect of our task of berur, of clarifying creation. God doesn't need creation clarified for God's sake. God can do whatever God wants. Humanity has a task of berur, which allows us to become what we need to be.
I just want to say this is a lot of fun, Rav Mike. It's great to be with you. I was just looking into the camera and thinking, this is so great that we're using this technology to talk about this ancient and hallowed principles, these amazing things. Just really cool. That's what I want to say. It's really cool. And I know that you have just another 5 minutes. I would have touched two topics, but I think we're only really have enough time for one, which is there's a lot of commandments, okay, including the commandments for that particular generation of putting the it's funny, I was talking about mezuzot, and that's really the root of it, which is the putting the blood on the doorposts, on the lintels. Yes. So there's commandments that are for generations about how to give the Paschal sacrifice yearly, and there's commandments about not eating leavened and eating matzah, and there's commandments for that generation. But there's also another set of commandments, which I think that we're engaging in right now, you and I, about Passover, and that is the issue that is in chapter 12, verse 26. V'haya ki yomru elechem b'nechem ma avodah zot lachem. Your children are going to ask you, what is this work that you're doing?
What are you doing?
Right? What is this service that you're offering? What is this thing that you're doing?
Why are you standing on the counters and scrubbing the cabinets?
Right. Like, what is this thing? And you are going to be, you have to answer them. Or in another way to say it, you have to teach them. V'amartem, you shall say, Zevach Pesach hu Hashem. It's an offering, a Paschal offering it is unto God. Asher pasach al batei bnei Israel, which he that skipped over, that or protected. There's another option to understand Passover as protection, but skipped over usually, jumped over the houses of the children of Israel, or protected the houses of the children of Israel. B'Mitzrayim, in Egypt, benakfo et Mitzrayim, when he struck down Egypt, vet bateinu hitzil, but our houses he saved. V'ikod ha'am v'ishtachu, and the nation at that point bowed down and prostrated themselves. Right, is that it's hard to understand. Is that part of the phrase what you tell your kids, or is it that's what happened when they got the message that they're going to have children that they're going to be able to tell it to in the land of Israel and talk to them about what happened in Egypt? The
latter is how Rashi reads it,
right?
For sure.
Right. Or does it mean that and you told and then our nation bowed down to God and thanked him? Well, anyway, it's one of those verses you can read in both ways. But let's just talk about this thing, which is something that you do with your whole life, which is really education. Yes. These are verses that are they're like meta narrative verses. They're like, you're in this moment, you're doing all these things, you got all these commandments, but I'm telling you also now, turn on your memory switch, because I want you to be able to talk about this and teach it later on. Yeah,
it's beyond talking, like you pointed out. It's embedded in the sort of reenactment that we do, and beyond reenactment every Pesach, right? Everybody's familiar with this idea that comes from the Mishnah that everyone's obligated to see themselves as if they came out of Egypt, right? That there's kind of three levels here. There's the historical reality, there's this sort of educational, cultural imperative to remember, and recall that remembering is an active process, not a passive one. It involves teaching your children and calls, etc. But then there's even deeper aspect of I would call it existential identification, that you yourself must come out. That you cannot simply be a recipient of this story, and you can't even just pass on the story to someone else. This story must transform you, right? Otherwise, it lacks its power to transform the world. Mm-hmm. Right, and this is the reason, as you're pointing out, that throughout the narrative here, the Torah pulls the lens out and says, "By the way, remember this. By the way, this is you're gonna eat that lamb, etc." And because they ala morim, right, the matzah morim, why are you eating it with matzah and more? Because they embittered your lives. Right? Even as they're experiencing it, it's being pointed out to them that these are eternal principles which everyone must embody in their own life in each generation.
Awesome. And let's take a second here. We have just like one more second. Let's just pray for the success of all the people that are watching this thing, and certainly for the state of Israel, the land of Israel, the people of Israel. And I want to pray for the world, and also at this juncture in American history, I want to pray for the continued success of the United States, to keep doing their mission, their thing, and to have more peace and love amongst the populace there, and to find more common ground, B'ezrat Hashem, and to also be thankful to God for the great things that He has given us. One of the things I'm grateful for is the time to spend with you, Rav Mike Foyer. So thank you so much for joining us, and we want to wish you a refuah shlema, and you're going now to get your vaccination. And may you not grow a tail and only be kept healthy from this coronavirus.
Amen. Thank you so much. Shabbat shalom.
God bless you, Rav Mike, and we let you go. All right, folks, you are listening to the Yishai Fleischer Show, and it's a lot of fun to have Rav Mike and talk about Torah. It's a lot of fun to also be with you, and there's a lot of sweet folks out there. For example, my good friend Shmuel Goldman, who says, "Hail in the Golan, but it ain't no plague." No, it is a blessing, and we also had hail today here in in the Jerusalem region, in the Jerusalem mountains, in Gush Etzion, and we made sure to collect some of that hail, because that hail is the Torah many times compares the manna to frost and to snow, and so we collected it, poured a little bit of apple juice concentrate on it, and we're going to have it now as a dessert snack. But really remember also the manna. That's the manna. And what is remembering the manna? That just means remembering that everything is a gift from Hashem, that He gives us our health and our relationships, and our thoughts, and our opportunities, and our homes, and just to think that thought, and to be like, Hashem, you are blessing me. And I just want you to know that if hail is falling on the land of Israel, a blessed hail, not a hail of destruction, but a hail of blessings. And the Jewish kids in Israel are going to be really defeating Hitler by having hail ice cream snacks. That is a great blessing indeed. And also, I think this is just a funny remark by Andrea, who says, "I wish I could pray in the bathroom because I'm here for hours doing my hair and face." That's a great line, Andrea. God bless you. And may Hashem also give you opportunities to pray wherever you want, just not in the bathroom, but rather facing the land of Israel with a picture of the land of Israel in your house. And I'm always recommending to people, make sure that you have a big picture of something that you love in the land of Israel in your house. And I say this to Jews and Gentiles. This is Yishai's additional commandments. Put up a picture of the land of Israel in your house. Something that you love. If it's Tzfat, if it's Tveria, if it's the Mediterranean, if it's Yerushalayim or Hebron, whatever it is for you, or Eilat, whatever it is, or the Golan Heights. Put up a picture of something like that in your house. It'll really give you a lot of juice and a lot of connectivity. And of course, imbibe products from the land of Israel. That's why one of the sponsors to our show is Blessed by Israel. Blessed BUY Israel. When you put on coupon code Yishai, you get 12% off, and it's an awesome. There's got awesome products from the land of Israel, including olive oil, which I really think that it would be great for you to have olive oil from the land of Israel. So that's blessedbyisrael.com. Also, check out two grooming products. One is from my good friends, Salves of Jerusalem, salvesofjerusalem.com. They make great creams that are made from all organic, natural stuff from the land of Israel. So you're going to be putting the land of Israel on your body. and you're going to really connect to that spiritual energy, and you're going to have a glow. You're going to have a facial glow. You're going to have a Mo glow, a Moses glow coming out of you. So that's salvesofjerusalem.com. And also, if you're like me, a beardman, okay, a man who sports a beard, then you need Aleph Male, okay, Aleph Male, which will give you, again, all natural, awesome smelling, great products. A lot of people have already bought products from Aleph Male from the show, and they really like it. I just got, my friend Ben said he bought it. His wife loves the smell. His beard looks great, which is awesome. We can't sell you the beard. That's something you have to do yourself. But we can sell you the beard product. So that's aleph-male.com. I also put in coupon code Yishai, 10% off. Actually, it's Yishai 10. Put that coupon code in, bang. The other thing is Tchelet, Tekhelet. That's the biblical blue string, which is back after 2,000-year hiatus. You have a chance to do an incredible mitzvah. It is an amazing feeling. I wear them every day. My little kids wear them. My youngest son sleeps in his tzitzit. I also sleep in my tzitzit. Whatever, that's a topic for a different show. It's an awesome thing. So check that out. It makes a big difference. So that's Tekhelet. Also coupon code Yishai there will give you 5% off. So check that out. Hey, it's money, right? The Jewish community of Hebron. The Jewish community of Hebron always needs your support. We protect the tombs of the fathers and mothers. The Hebron Fund is a fabulous organization. I'm proud to be associated with it. HebronFund.org. Check them out as well. And of course, check out the other shows on our network, thelandofisrael.com, including The Fellowship, the Land of Israel Network, thelandofisrael.com, and my network with all the shows and my latest Newsweek article. Check it out. It's on Newsweek right now. Or just go to my site, yishaifleischer.com. Thank you to my good friend Moshe, who manages and operates at Moshe and Yocheved, working to make it better every single day. If you feel like donating, no better time than today. You know why? Because why not, right? It makes all the difference when you support our show and you support our work. And of course, write us an email, yishai@thelandofisrael.com or yishai@yishaifleischer.com. Let me check out if there's any other comments there. There you go, my good friend Shmuel from the north of Israel, writing, "You got the Mo glow, Yeesh." That's right, got the Mo glow. That's right. It is definitely a blessing. Other people are saying to pray for the COVID virus, folks. I do have some good friends who have gotten pretty sick recently, so I really want to pray for everybody's health and send them brachot. Brachot to the new administration, brachot to the outgoing administration for doing such great things, brachot to the state of Israel, the land of Israel, our election season. We'll be talking about that soon. And wherever you are, folks, we are sending you our blessings because this is the land of blessings. And enjoy winter and the hail here in the land of Israel.
With global instability on the rise, more and more people are turning to God, realizing now they don't exactly know where to look for guidance. The Bible says the guidance will come from the land of Israel. My name is Jeremy Gimpel. A few months ago, we started an online seminar teaching life-changing biblical wisdom revealed from the original Hebrew and straight from the mountains of Judea. What you will discover is that the wisdom transmitted thousands of years ago is speaking directly to us in our time right now. Join now and get an audio series on the prophecy encoded in the book of Joshua, absolutely for free. Just click on the link below or email fellowship@thelandofisrael.com. I don't know how you found this video or what compelled you to click on that link, but I don't believe in coincidence, and I would encourage you to take the next step on your journey toward the land of Israel. I hope to see you at the Land of Israel Fellowship. Shalom.